You are about to learn how people actually show what they feel and think long before they speak, and how that knowledge can change the way you handle every conversation. This guide shows clear, practical steps you can use right away to notice small facial shifts and body posture, to hear hidden tones in speech, to spot the habits that shape choices, and to respond in ways that build trust. Expect short exercises you can do in daily life, simple questions to ask that reveal truth, and small habits that bring steady improvement. You will practice listening with full attention, managing your own reactions, and choosing calm responses under pressure. The result is less confusion, more honest connection, and greater influence without pressure or manipulation. Along the way, you will see concrete examples of what people do when they feel nervous, angry, relieved, or open, and you will get a brief routine to turn those observations into helpful action. Stay through the whole video to learn a practical plan at the end that shows exactly how to use these skills in work and relationships, and how to make them part of daily life. This is not theory or fancy terms, but usable skills you can test immediately and improve every day. If you want clearer conversations, stronger relationships, and the confidence to act with integrity, this series gives a straightforward path to get there. Chapter 1. Master reading body language to understand emotions instantly. Understanding people starts with observing what they do more than what they say. Words can be chosen, filtered, and hidden behind politeness or fear, but the body rarely lies. Every gesture, posture, movement, and facial expression carries a message, often revealing more than spoken words. Mastering the skill of reading body language is not just a tool for influence or persuasion. It is a tool for clarity, connection, and personal growth. When you learn to notice and interpret these subtle cues, you begin to understand the emotional landscape of the people around you almost instantly. This awareness creates opportunities to respond effectively, build trust, and navigate social interactions with confidence. The first step in mastering body language is developing the habit of focused observation. Most people move through life reacting to words and ignoring the unspoken signals that accompany them. Practicing conscious observation starts with slowing down. In a conversation, instead of thinking about what to say next, pay attention to posture, hand movements, eye contact, and the tension or relaxation in the other person's body. Notice the way they position themselves relative to others. Are they leaning forward, signaling interest and engagement, or leaning back, signaling detachment or discomfort? Small shifts in posture can reveal much about a person's thoughts and feelings in that moment. Facial expressions are powerful windows into emotion. Humans express a wide range of emotions through micro-expressions, fleeting, almost imperceptible facial movements that reveal underlying feelings before they are consciously controlled. A slight tightening of the lips can indicate frustration, a brief furrow in the brow may signal concern or confusion, and a quick upward twitch at the corner of the mouth can suggest amusement or satisfaction. Learning to notice these subtle changes allows you to catch the truth behind words. It requires practice because these expressions are often very brief, but over time the mind starts to recognize patterns and associate specific micro-expressions with particular emotions. Practice by watching people in public spaces, not in a judgmental way, but as an observer seeking understanding. Notice how they react when speaking, listening, or interacting with others. Over time, you will begin to see the connection between internal emotion and external expression. Hand gestures and movements are equally important. The way someone uses their hands can indicate confidence, nervousness, or deceit. Open palms facing upward suggest honesty and openness, while crossed arms or clenched fists can indicate defensiveness or tension. Pay attention to repetitive movements such as tapping fingers, fidgeting, or shifting weight, as these can indicate anxiety or impatience. In professional environments, these cues can be particularly revealing. A leader who consistently gestures with open hands creates a sense of approachability, while someone who constantly closes themselves off may be projecting discomfort or control issues. Recognizing these cues in everyday life gives you the ability to adjust your responses, create rapport, and approach interactions strategically without manipulation. posture conveys power and emotional state in ways that are often subconscious. People who stand tall with shoulders back and head held high tend to project confidence and readiness. Conversely, a slouched posture can indicate fatigue, disinterest, or low self-esteem. Observing posture in relation to social interactions can give insight into how people feel about a situation. When meeting someone new, notice their stance. Are they facing you directly or are they angled away? Body orientation is a subtle but telling signal. Direct orientation suggests openness and engagement, while angled or turned, away postures can indicate discomfort or a desire to disengage. Adjusting your own posture in response can create subtle psychological alignment, making interactions smoother and more productive. Eye contact is one of the most reliable indicators of emotion and intent. People who maintain consistent, relaxed eye contact generally convey honesty, interest, and confidence. Conversely, avoiding eye contact may indicate nervousness, deceit, or discomfort. However, it is important to recognize cultural differences and personal boundaries. Eye contact is not just about staring, it is about the quality of attention. The duration, intensity, and frequency of eye contact all provide clues about a person's emotional state. Learning to read these subtle patterns allows you to sense when someone is truly engaged or when they are hiding hesitation or doubt. Eye contact also creates connection and builds trust, which is crucial for deep communication. By mirroring appropriate levels of eye contact, you signal attentiveness and respect, fostering a more meaningful interaction. Listening to tone and pace of speech complements body language reading. Even though words can be misleading, the way they are spoken often reveals genuine emotion. A hurried speech pattern may indicate stress or anxiety, while a slower pace may suggest thoughtfulness or caution. Subtle changes in volume, pitch, and rhythm offer insight into emotional states that words alone cannot convey. Combining auditory cues with visual body language observation strengthens your ability to understand people in real time. For instance, if someone is speaking calmly but their fists are clenched or they avoid eye contact, there is a disconnect between their verbal expression and emotional reality. Recognizing these mismatches allows you to respond more empathetically and effectively. Understanding personal space and proxemics is another critical dimension of reading body language. The physical distance people maintain in social situations communicates comfort levels, trust, and authority. Standing too close to someone can make them feel threatened or invaded, while maintaining too much distance can create feelings of detachment or disinterest. By observing how people manage space around themselves and others, you gain insight into their relational comfort and social preferences. Applying this knowledge helps you adjust your own proximity in ways that respect boundaries while encouraging openness and connection. One of the most practical ways to master reading body language is deliberate daily practice. Start by observing interactions around you, taking mental notes on posture, gestures, eye contact, and micro-expressions. Reflect on the emotional states you perceive and consider how these observations influence your response. Journaling your observations and insights can accelerate learning, helping you recognize patterns and improve accuracy over time. Intentionally placing yourself in social situations where observation is required, such as networking events, meetings, or public spaces, hones your skill in a practical and actionable way. Applying this knowledge in real-world scenarios transforms interactions and outcomes. When you can sense discomfort, hesitation, or enthusiasm instantly, you are better equipped to adapt your communication style. For example, in negotiations, recognizing signs of uncertainty allows you to adjust your approach to create clarity and reassurance. In leadership, reading team members' body language helps identify morale issues before they escalate, allowing timely and empathetic intervention. In personal relationships, understanding unspoken feelings deepens connection, reduces conflict, and fosters trust. The practical applications of mastering body language are vast, extending into every area of life where human interaction occurs. Emotional awareness is enhanced through body language mastery By understanding the cues of others, you also begin to understand yourself. Observing your own postures, gestures, and expressions provides insight into your internal states. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. When you are aware of how your body communicates, you gain control over how your emotions are expressed and received. This self-mastery is not about perfection. It is about clarity and conscious presence. The more attuned you become to subtle cues in yourself and others, the more intentional and effective your interactions will be. Consistency in practice builds competence and confidence. Initially, noticing and interpreting body language may feel overwhelming. There are countless gestures, expressions, and nuances to consider. The key is consistent, patient practice. Focus on one or two aspects at a time, such as observing facial expressions or hand movements, and gradually expand your awareness. With time, recognition becomes intuitive, and your ability to understand emotions instantly becomes second nature. Confidence emerges not from memorizing a list of gestures, but from repeated observation, reflection, and application. It is also essential to approach this skill with respect and ethical awareness. Reading body language is not a tool for manipulation. It is a tool for connection and understanding. Observing someone's emotional state should guide compassionate and effective interaction, not exploitation. Ethical practice reinforces trust, strengthens relationships, and enhances personal integrity. The goal is influence through understanding, not control through deception. Mastering body language responsibly elevates your interactions and allows for meaningful, genuine human connection. Over time, this skill reshapes your perspective on human behavior. What once seemed unpredictable and confusing becomes more transparent and manageable. You begin to notice patterns in behavior, recognize emotional triggers, and anticipate reactions with accuracy. This insight reduces conflict, increases empathy, and enhances decision-making. Understanding body language equips you with a quiet power, the ability to navigate life with awareness, clarity, and emotional intelligence. It fosters resilience by preparing you for unexpected reactions and emotional dynamics in every situation. Practical exercises accelerate mastery. Observe someone for 5 minutes without interacting, noting their posture, gestures, and facial expressions. Try to infer their emotional state and motivations. Afterward, reflect on whether your perceptions align with the context or outcome of the interaction. Gradually, extend this to live interactions, adjusting your communication style based on observed cues. Test your observations and learn from outcomes. Over time, accuracy improves, and your ability to respond with empathy and precision becomes instinctive. Another actionable practice is pairing observation with questioning. When you notice tension, confusion, or discomfort, ask open-ended questions to confirm your interpretation. For example, if someone avoids eye contact and crosses their arms, you might say, "It seems like something might be on your mind. Would you like to share?" Combining observation with gentle inquiry validates your interpretations and fosters trust. This approach bridges nonverbal insight with verbal communication, creating a complete understanding of the emotional landscape. Finally, integrating body language awareness into daily life requires mindfulness and presence. True mastery comes from living attentively, noticing the signals others send, and responding deliberately. It is a practice of continuous improvement, reflection, and application. Like any skill, the more effort invested, the greater the returns. Gradually, interactions feel smoother, conflicts decrease, and connections deepen. You become a person who understands people, not through assumption or guesswork, but through careful, respectful observation and engagement. Mastering body language is not a shortcut or magic trick. It is a discipline. It requires patience, consistent practice, and ethical application. The rewards are profound: enhanced relationships, improved communication, stronger emotional intelligence, and deeper self-awareness. You gain the ability to sense truth behind words, anticipate reactions, and respond with clarity and compassion. Every gesture you notice, every expression you interpret, and every posture you read becomes a tool for personal growth, connection, and resilience. This skill transforms not only how you understand others, but how you understand yourself, creating a foundation for lifelong improvement, wisdom, and emotional mastery. In essence, reading body language is about presence. It is about paying attention to the moment, noticing details others overlook, and translating those observations into meaningful action. The more you practice, the sharper your perception becomes, and the more empowered you feel in every interaction. Understanding emotions instantly through body language is not a talent reserved for a few. It is a discipline anyone can cultivate. By committing to this practice, observing thoughtfully, reflecting consistently, and applying insights ethically, you unlock a profound ability to connect, influence, and thrive in every area of life. The power of this skill lies in its universality. Every person communicates through their body, whether consciously or unconsciously. By learning to read these signals, you gain access to a level of understanding that most people never achieve. You move through life not merely reacting to words or situations, but responding with insight, empathy, and confidence. You build stronger relationships, make better decisions, and develop a deeper awareness of human behavior. This is the foundation upon which all other interpersonal skills are built. Mastering body language is the first step toward mastering the psychology of human behavior itself. Through this practice, life becomes less confusing and more intentional. Interactions no longer leave you guessing or second-guessing. You see the truth behind expressions and gestures, which allows for more precise and impactful communication. You begin to notice inconsistencies between words and actions, and respond in ways that maintain respect and integrity. You develop patience, observation, and emotional control, all essential traits for resilience and leadership. By understanding the silent language of the body, you equip yourself with a tool for continuous self-improvement and personal empowerment. In conclusion, mastering the skill of reading body language is a journey, not a destination. It requires attention, ethical awareness, reflection, and consistent practice. It teaches you to observe, listen, and respond in ways that create deeper connections, greater clarity, and more meaningful interactions. The discipline of observing gestures, posture, facial expressions, and micro-movements sharpens your understanding of people instantly, transforming your relationships and your ability to influence and connect. Every day you practice, you gain insight, wisdom, and confidence, and you move closer to becoming the person who truly understands human behavior, not through guesswork, but through careful, ethical, and conscious observation. Chapter 2. Develop active listening skills to connect deeply with people. Listening is more than simply hearing words. Most people go through conversations waiting for their turn to speak, thinking about what they want to say next, or reacting emotionally to what they hear. This approach leaves understanding and connection shallow and relationships strained. Active listening is the practice of fully engaging with another person, noticing not only their words but also their tone, pauses, and underlying emotions. When you learn to listen actively, you connect deeply, gain clarity, and respond effectively. It is not a passive skill, but a disciplined, intentional practice that requires focus, patience, and presence. Active listening transforms your interactions, enabling you to understand people instantly, build trust, and influence with integrity. The first step in mastering active listening is cultivating presence. Most distractions in daily life, phones, tasks, internal thoughts, pull attention away from the person in front of you. To listen effectively, you must quiet these distractions and give your full attention. Observe their body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. Notice the subtleties in how they speak. Do they hesitate, speed up, or soften their voice? Each element provides information beyond the words themselves. Being present is a conscious decision, a deliberate choice to focus entirely on the interaction. It requires mental discipline and practice. Begin by setting aside external distractions whenever possible and internal distractions by slowing down your thoughts. Active listening also requires patience. People do not always communicate clearly or directly. Sometimes they need time to organize their thoughts, or they may struggle with expressing emotions. Rushing to respond or interrupting to offer your opinion breaks the flow of genuine understanding. Listening patiently means resisting the urge to speak until the speaker has finished, even if the silence feels uncomfortable. Silence is not empty. It gives space for reflection and allows the speaker to share more honestly. Practice sitting in silence, letting the other person finish their thoughts without interjecting, and noticing the depth of information that emerges when you do. A key component of active listening is observing tone and emphasis. Words carry meaning, but the way they are spoken often reveals true intent and emotion. Notice changes in pitch, speed, or volume. A raised voice can signal anger or excitement, while a lower, slower voice may indicate thoughtfulness or sadness. Repetition, hesitation, or emphasis on certain words often highlights what is most important to the speaker. Pay attention not only to what is said, but also to how it is said. This provides context and insight into the speaker's emotional state and priorities. Over time, recognizing these patterns becomes intuitive, helping you understand people quickly and accurately. Reflection and paraphrasing are practical tools in active listening. By summarizing what the other person has said in your own words, you demonstrate that you understand and validate their experience. For example, if someone expresses frustration with a project at work, you might respond, "It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed by the workload and unsure how to manage it." This approach confirms that you are paying attention, creates a sense of connection, and encourages the speaker to elaborate further. Reflection also helps you clarify your understanding and avoid assumptions. When used consistently, it strengthens trust and encourages open communication. Asking thoughtful, open-ended questions deepens engagement. Questions like, "How did that make you feel?" or "What was your thought process behind that decision?" invite the speaker to expand on their experience and share more fully. Avoid questions that suggest judgment or steer the conversation toward your agenda. The goal is to understand, not to interrogate. By asking questions that encourage elaboration, you demonstrate genuine interest and empathy, which fosters a stronger connection and more meaningful dialogue. Empathy is at the core of active listening. Truly understanding someone's perspective requires putting yourself in their position emotionally and mentally. This does not mean you must agree with them, but you must recognize and validate their feelings. Empathy helps you respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It allows you to sense what the other person needs in the moment, whether it is support, guidance, or simply being heard. Practicing empathy consistently strengthens relationships, improves communication, and fosters mutual respect. Non-verbal signals are just as important as words in active listening. Nodding, maintaining appropriate eye contact, and leaning slightly forward all indicate attention and interest. Avoid checking your phone, looking around the room, or displaying closed-off body language, like crossed arms or turning away. Your own body communicates as much as your words, and demonstrating attentiveness reinforces the connection you are building. Similarly, observe the speaker's nonverbal cues. Facial expressions, gestures, and posture provide insight into their emotional state and level of engagement. Aligning your behavior with theirs subtly creates rapport and facilitates understanding. Managing internal reactions is a critical skill for active listening. People often respond emotionally to what they hear, whether with defensiveness, frustration, or judgment. To maintain effectiveness, observe these impulses without acting on them immediately. Practice self-awareness by noticing your thoughts and emotions as they arise, then choosing responses intentionally. This disciplined approach prevents miscommunication and allows you to respond with clarity and composure. By controlling your reactions, you maintain focus on the speaker and the goal of understanding, rather than shifting attention to defending yourself or proving a point. Active listening is enhanced by capturing patterns and context. Over time, observe recurring themes in how a person communicates, their preferences, and their triggers. This provides predictive insight into future behavior, allowing for more strategic and effective interactions. For example, noticing that a colleague often hesitates when discussing deadlines may indicate anxiety or uncertainty. With this awareness, you can approach conversations in ways that reduce stress, clarify expectations, and encourage openness. The more you practice observation combined with listening, the more attuned you become to the nuances of human behavior. Practical exercises strengthen active listening skills. Start with a single conversation each day where you commit to fully focusing on the other person. Observe their tone, body language, and emotions. Avoid interrupting or formulating your response while they speak. Afterward, reflect on what you noticed, what insights emerged, and how accurately you understood their message. Gradually, expand this practice to multiple interactions, increasing both attention and depth. Journaling your observations and reflections reinforces learning and sharpens your awareness over time. Active listening is also about responding with intention. After hearing and understanding the other person, choose words and actions that demonstrate comprehension, respect, and support. Responses can include summaries, empathetic statements, or constructive solutions when appropriate. Intentional responses reinforce trust and respect, creating a cycle of positive communication. Practicing this skill consistently allows interactions to feel more meaningful, productive, and connected. Another critical component is recognizing and managing assumptions. Most people filter conversations through their own biases and prior experiences. These assumptions often distort understanding and hinder connection. Active listening requires suspending judgment, letting the speaker's words and behaviors guide your understanding and questioning initial assumptions. By consciously addressing assumptions, you increase accuracy in interpretation and build stronger, more authentic relationships. Active listening improves not only relationships with others, but also self-mastery. The discipline required, focus, patience, empathy, reflection, develops mental clarity and emotional resilience. By practicing active listening daily, you strengthen your ability to remain present, manage your own reactions, and engage thoughtfully in any conversation. This skill has ripple effects in all areas of life, from professional environments to personal relationships, enhancing both understanding and influence. Recognizing emotional cues while listening is an essential layer of understanding. Subtle signals like changes in breathing, shifts in posture, or trembling hands can indicate emotional intensity. Being sensitive to these cues allows you to respond appropriately and compassionately. For instance, noticing tension in a speaker's voice may prompt you to slow your pace, clarify your questions, or offer reassurance. Combining verbal, non-verbal, and emotional observation creates a holistic understanding of the person you are engaging with, increasing both connection and accuracy. Consistency in practice leads to mastery. The first attempts at active listening may feel awkward or unnatural, but over time awareness becomes intuitive. Begin with simple interactions, conversations with friends, colleagues, or family. Gradually incorporate active listening into more complex scenarios, such as negotiations, conflict resolution, or mentoring. Each interaction reinforces skills, deepens empathy, and strengthens your ability to understand people instantly. Ethical use of active listening is critical. This skill is not a tool for manipulation or coercion. Its power lies in understanding, connection, and influence through clarity and respect. Using active listening ethically ensures that relationships are built on trust, authenticity, and mutual benefit. Ethical practice enhances credibility, strengthens bonds, and fosters positive influence, without compromising integrity. Practical exercises for mastery include observation without intervention. Watch conversations from a distance. focusing on gestures, tone, and patterns without engaging. Predict the emotions or intentions behind the words and then reflect on accuracy afterward. Combine this with real-life conversations where you fully focus on the speaker, apply reflective summaries, ask open-ended questions, and practice empathetic responses. These exercises, repeated consistently, accelerate skill development and internalize active listening as a natural habit. Listening with purpose requires setting intentions before interactions. Decide that your goal is understanding rather than responding or persuading. Mentally commit to giving full attention, suspending judgment, and observing emotions and behaviors. Approaching conversations with clear intent ensures consistency, discipline, and focus. Over time, this practice strengthens intuition and allows you to read people more accurately and respond more effectively in any situation. Active listening also involves recognizing energy and mood in interactions. People communicate not only through words and expressions, but also through their overall emotional presence. Some conversations may feel heavy, tense, or light, energetic, or positive. Noticing this energy provides additional context for responses and interactions. By aligning your approach with the speaker's emotional state, you increase connection, reduce friction, and improve outcomes. Mastering active listening transforms relationships in profound ways. By fully understanding others, you reduce misunderstandings, increase empathy, and foster trust. People feel valued and respected when they are heard, which strengthens bonds and encourages cooperation. In professional settings, this skill improves leadership effectiveness, negotiation outcomes, and team collaboration. In personal life, it deepens friendships, enhances family connections, and creates a sense of mutual support. The ripple effect of truly listening extends far beyond individual interactions, shaping a life of clarity, influence, and connection. Ultimately, active listening is a discipline of awareness, patience, and empathy. It requires deliberate practice, consistent reflection, and ethical application. By committing to this practice, you gain the ability to understand people instantly, navigate interactions with clarity, and respond with purpose and compassion. Each conversation becomes an opportunity to grow, connect, and refine both understanding and communication. Over time, listening becomes not just a skill, but a way of life, enhancing self-mastery, emotional intelligence, and the ability to positively impact those around you. The practice of active listening is transformative because it bridges the gap between words and meaning. Most people miss the depth of communication because they focus solely on content and ignore context, tone, and emotion. By integrating observation, reflection, empathy, and intentional responses, you move from surface-level understanding to profound comprehension. This skill allows you to navigate conversations, resolve conflicts, and foster connections that are authentic, respectful, and impactful. In conclusion, developing active listening skills is an essential foundation for understanding human behavior. It is a continuous, deliberate practice that combines presence, observation, empathy, reflection, and ethical engagement. By committing to this skill, you enhance your ability to read people instantly, connect deeply, and influence positively. Each interaction becomes a chance to practice, improve, and grow. Active listening is not simply a communication tool. It is a path to personal mastery, emotional resilience, and meaningful connection that enriches every aspect of life. Chapter 3. Analyze speech patterns to reveal true thoughts effectively. Words carry information, but the true meaning behind them often hides beneath the surface. People can carefully choose what they say, omit details, or even distort the truth. Intentionally or unconsciously, to understand them fully, you must learn to listen not only to their words, but to how those words are delivered. Speech patterns, tone, pace, volume, pauses, and emphasis provide subtle yet powerful insights into a person's thoughts, emotions, and intentions. By analyzing speech patterns consistently, you can uncover what someone truly thinks, respond appropriately, and build deeper connections. This skill requires patience, observation, and disciplined practice, but it is one of the most effective ways to understand human behavior instantly. The first step is to notice the rhythm of speech. People rarely speak in a perfectly steady pattern. Some may speed up when excited, anxious, or trying to hide something. Others may slow down when careful, reflective, or unsure. Pauses, hesitations, and repetitions often indicate mental processing, discomfort, or emphasis on a particular point. Observing these patterns requires focus. During conversations, resist the urge to respond immediately. Instead, pay attention to how words flow and how the speaker's tone fluctuates. The subtleties of rhythm and pace often reveal emotions and hidden thoughts that words alone cannot convey. Tone of voice is another critical element. Beyond the content, tone communicates mood, intention, and authenticity. A rising tone at the end of a statement may indicate uncertainty or a request for validation, while a flat monotone delivery can signal boredom, fatigue, or detachment. Changes in pitch and inflection, even subtle ones, can indicate underlying tension, excitement, or sincerity. By consciously listening to tone, you can distinguish between statements made with genuine intent and those that are defensive, anxious, or misleading. Tone is often more reliable than the actual words spoken because it reflects emotional truth unconsciously. Volume and emphasis play a significant role in understanding speech. People often unconsciously adjust the loudness of their voice to match emotion. Louder volume can reflect passion, urgency, or even anger, while softer speech may indicate hesitation, vulnerability, or uncertainty. Similarly, emphasis on certain words can highlight priorities, reveal hidden concerns, or draw attention to what the speaker considers important. Listening attentively to which words are stressed allows you to identify underlying meaning. For example, if someone says, "I think I can handle it," but stresses the word think, there may be doubt or insecurity present. These subtle cues provide actionable insight into true thoughts and feelings. Pauses and silences are equally revealing. Many people view silence as empty or awkward, but in reality it carries meaning. Pauses can indicate careful thought, discomfort, or concealed information. Hesitation may signal that someone is choosing words deliberately, hiding uncertainty, or feeling emotional intensity. Observing where pauses occur within speech gives context to the spoken message. For example, a pause before discussing a particular topic may indicate sensitivity or importance. Over time, recognizing these patterns becomes intuitive, allowing you to anticipate reactions, clarify misunderstandings, and respond strategically. Repetition is a key signal in speech analysis. When someone repeats certain words, phrases, or ideas, it often reflects significance or emotional weight. Repetition can indicate internal conflict, strong belief, or subconscious emphasis on a topic. By noticing which words or themes recur, you gain insight into priorities, concerns, and hidden thoughts. For example, if a colleague repeatedly mentions team while discussing a project, it may reflect concern for collaboration or accountability. Tracking repetition sharpens your understanding and informs effective responses. Listening to linguistic patterns can reveal personality traits and behavioral tendencies. Some people use precise, structured language indicating organization, analytical thinking, or careful planning. Others speak with more emotional or descriptive language, suggesting empathy, creativity, or relational focus. By observing these tendencies, you can adjust your communication style to match theirs, building rapport and understanding more effectively. Understanding linguistic style provides a foundation for deeper insight into motivations, preferences, and potential reactions. Micro-expressions in speech, such as subtle changes in tone or emphasis, often accompany small body movements. A slight quiver in the voice, a pause before answering, or a change in pacing can indicate uncertainty, hesitation, or emotion. These cues, when combined with observation of body language, create a comprehensive understanding of the speaker. Developing the ability to notice these signals requires practice. Start by focusing on one element, such as pacing, in conversations. then gradually incorporate tone, volume, and emphasis. Over time, your brain begins to recognize patterns automatically, allowing for almost instant insight. Active reflection enhances speech analysis. After listening, take a moment to consider what the speech patterns reveal. Ask yourself what emotions or thoughts may be driving the way words are spoken. Avoid jumping to conclusions. Instead, use the information to clarify, empathize, or guide your response. Reflection transforms observation into understanding. Journaling conversations and noting speech patterns alongside emotional cues can accelerate skill development, allowing you to identify trends and refine interpretation over time. Combining observation with questioning deepens understanding. After noticing patterns or anomalies, asking open-ended questions can validate your interpretations. For example, if a friend hesitates and lowers their tone when discussing a situation, asking, "How did that situation affect you?" allows them to elaborate while confirming your perception. Thoughtful questioning bridges the gap between observation and verbal confirmation, reinforcing trust and deepening connection. This method ensures that your understanding is accurate and actionable. Speech analysis also reveals emotional triggers and stress points. Changes in tone, volume, or pace often coincide with moments of tension or sensitivity. By recognizing these cues, you can navigate difficult conversations more effectively. For instance, if someone's voice rises when discussing a particular topic, it may signal discomfort or defensiveness. Responding with calm, measured speech and empathetic questions allows the conversation to remain constructive. Understanding emotional triggers through speech patterns is essential for conflict resolution, negotiation, and leadership. Active listening and speech analysis develop self-awareness as well. Observing how people communicate reflects patterns you can compare to your own communication style. Are you speaking clearly, calmly, and intentionally? Are your own tone and pace aligned with your message? By analyzing others, you gain insight into your own tendencies and areas for improvement. Self-awareness enhances credibility, influence, and the ability to connect authentically with others. Practice exercises strengthen speech analysis skills. Begin by listening to recorded conversations, speeches, or interviews. Focus on tone, pace, volume, emphasis, and pauses. Note patterns, and attempt to infer emotions and intentions. Compare your interpretations with context or outcomes to assess accuracy. In live conversations, apply the same approach, observing and reflecting on speech patterns while remaining fully engaged. Regular practice improves intuition and ability to understand people quickly and accurately. Consistency in practice builds confidence. Initially, observing and interpreting speech patterns may feel overwhelming. There are multiple cues to notice simultaneously. Focus on one or two elements at a time, gradually incorporating more as skill develops. Over time, recognition becomes automatic, and understanding others through speech becomes natural. Confidence comes from repeated application and reflection, not memorization or guesswork. Ethical use of speech analysis is crucial. This skill should be applied to understand, support, and connect, not to manipulate or deceive. Ethical practice fosters trust, strengthens relationships, and enhances influence without compromising integrity. Observing speech patterns allows you to respond with clarity, empathy, and insight, creating mutually beneficial interactions. Using this skill responsibly reinforces credibility and positive impact. Analyzing speech patterns also improves decision-making and leadership. Understanding emotions and intentions behind words enables more strategic responses in professional and personal contexts. For example, in team meetings, noticing hesitation or stress in a colleague's speech may indicate the need for clarification or support. Leaders who recognize these cues can address issues proactively, build trust, and guide conversations toward productive outcomes. Effective communication begins with understanding, and speech analysis provides that foundation. Speech pattern analysis integrates seamlessly with other observation skills, such as body language and micro-expressions. Combining visual and auditory cues creates a complete picture of human behavior. For instance, noticing a raised voice while the person averts eye contact may indicate defensiveness or discomfort. Observing both speech and body language enhances accuracy and allows for timely, appropriate responses. The more integrated your observation skills, the more instantly you can understand and connect with people. Practical exercises include noting stress markers in speech during conversations. Identify moments when tone, volume, or pace changes. Reflect on potential emotions driving these changes. Apply empathetic questions or responses to address underlying concerns. Over time, your ability to detect subtle cues improves and interactions become more effective. Pair this with journaling or mental reflection to track patterns and increase insight. Recognizing speech patterns also improves persuasion and influence ethically. By understanding how people respond verbally and emotionally, you can frame messages in ways that resonate with their perspective. This does not mean manipulation but alignment. Adjusting tone, pace, and emphasis in your speech to match the listener's style increases clarity and connection. People respond positively when they feel understood, making influence more natural and authentic. The practice of speech analysis also enhances negotiation skills. Detecting uncertainty, stress, or enthusiasm through speech allows you to adjust strategy, clarify points, and find mutually beneficial solutions. Recognizing cues such as hesitation, word repetition, or changes in tone helps you gauge readiness, priorities, and confidence. Negotiation becomes less about argument and more about understanding, which leads to better outcomes for all parties. In personal relationships, analyzing speech patterns deepens empathy and trust. Noticing subtle cues in a partner's or friend's communication allows you to respond thoughtfully and supportively. Emotional validation builds stronger connections, reduces misunderstandings, and fosters long-term stability. Over time, people feel truly heard and understood, strengthening bonds and creating a foundation of mutual respect. Finally, speech pattern analysis is a lifelong skill that grows with practice. Each interaction, observation, and reflection sharpens your ability to understand people instantly. Integrating this skill with active listening, body language mastery, and emotional awareness creates a comprehensive approach to human behavior. The discipline, patience, and ethical application of these skills transform interactions, relationships, and personal growth. Understanding speech patterns is not just about communication, it is about insight. It allows you to read the subtle emotional currents beneath words, anticipate reactions, and respond with clarity, empathy, and purpose. The more you practice, the more intuitive this understanding becomes, enabling you to connect deeply, influence positively, and navigate life with confidence and awareness. Mastery of speech patterns equips you to understand human behavior at a profound level, creating opportunities for personal growth, improved relationships, and meaningful impact in every area of life. Chapter 4. Observe habits daily to predict behaviors before they happen. Habits are the invisible architecture of human behavior. They shape choices, influence actions, and dictate responses, often without conscious awareness. Observing someone's habits daily reveals consistent patterns that predict how they will think, feel, and act in the future. Habits are more than routines. They are the fingerprints of personality, values, and priorities. When you understand the habits of those around you, you gain the ability to anticipate behavior, respond strategically, and build stronger connections. Paying attention to habits requires consistent observation, reflection, and interpretation. But the insights you gain are invaluable. The first step is to notice recurring routines. People often develop automatic ways of approaching daily tasks, conversations, and interactions. These repeated behaviors provide insight into priorities and mindset. For example, someone who consistently arrives early to meetings demonstrates reliability and discipline, while someone who frequently misses deadlines may signal disorganization or competing priorities. Tracking patterns over time allows you to forecast behavior accurately. Observation must be intentional. Watch without judgment, noting not only what is done but also when, how, and in what context actions occur. Small actions carry profound significance. How someone organizes their workspace, responds to messages, or interacts with others repeatedly reveals their values and emotional tendencies. Habits are often unconscious reflections of what a person considers important. Observing subtle patterns, such as how often someone interrupts conversations, checks their phone, or engages with colleagues, gives insight into focus, patience, and respect. These details create a mental map of behavioral tendencies that can be used to anticipate future choices. Consistency is the key to prediction. 1. Off actions rarely reflect deeper behavior. Look for repeated actions over days, weeks, and months. Consistent behavior forms the foundation of trust and reliability. Observing how people behave consistently allows you to predict responses in new situations. For instance, a friend who consistently practices kindness in small ways is likely to act with consideration when challenges arise. Patterns build predictability, and predictability allows for strategic and informed responses. Timing and context of habits offer additional clues. People may act differently depending on time of day, emotional state, or environment. Observing when certain behaviors occur can provide insight into triggers and motivations. For example, noticing that someone becomes withdrawn after stressful meetings or more assertive in public settings reveals underlying tendencies. Contextual observation enhances accuracy in predicting behavior because it links actions to circumstances rather than isolating them as random occurrences. Facial expressions, tone, and posture often accompany habitual behavior. Paying attention to these cues alongside observable routines enriches understanding. A person who habitually clenches their jaw before speaking or consistently raises their voice during disagreements provides insight into emotional patterns. Observing these subtleties allows you to anticipate reactions before they escalate, giving you the opportunity to respond thoughtfully and strategically. Tracking micro-habits is equally important. These are small, often unnoticed behaviors that accumulate to reveal personality traits and priorities. Simple actions like the way someone sips their coffee, arranges their belongings, or checks notifications can indicate meticulousness, patience, or anxiety. Micro-habits are highly reliable because they are difficult to control consciously. By observing micro-habits, you gain a clearer picture of underlying traits that govern broader behavior. Reflection is essential after observation. Watching behavior is only useful if you take time to analyze and interpret patterns. Ask yourself what these habits suggest about priorities, emotional tendencies, and likely future actions. Avoid projecting your assumptions, focus on evidence from repeated actions. Keeping a mental or written record of observed behaviors enhances clarity and helps identify trends over time. Reflection transforms observation into understanding, enabling practical application in daily interactions. Habits are strongly tied to values and beliefs. Observing consistent behaviors gives insight into what someone truly values, often more accurately than words. For example, a colleague who consistently prioritizes helping others over personal gain demonstrates altruism and integrity. Habits act as a behavioral signature, reflecting internal principles. Recognizing this connection allows you to anticipate decision-making, communication style, and reactions under stress. Environmental adaptation is another area where habits reveal predictive insights. People often respond to situations according to learned routines. For instance, someone who handles minor conflicts calmly at home may exhibit the same behavior in professional settings, while someone who reacts impulsively under pressure may do so consistently. Understanding habitual responses in varying environments allows you to forecast behavior across different scenarios and adapt your approach accordingly. Observation of habits also improves empathy. Recognizing why someone acts as they do Understanding the patterns that shape their behavior builds compassion and patience. Instead of reacting impulsively to frustrating or challenging actions, you can anticipate motivations and respond with understanding. This approach strengthens relationships and fosters mutual respect, creating opportunities for constructive interaction rather than conflict. Tracking habits over time also develops your ability to detect change. People evolve, but changes often manifest gradually through shifts in routine. Noticing subtle adjustments in behavior, such as increased focus, altered communication style, or new personal rituals, allows you to understand evolving priorities and emotional states. Observing these developments provides an early warning system for changes in mood, motivation, or stability, enabling proactive support or strategic engagement. Applying habit observation strategically enhances influence and communication. Knowing patterns allows you to frame interactions to align with behavioral tendencies. For example, if someone consistently reviews details before making decisions, presenting information clearly and thoroughly respects their process and increases cooperation. Anticipating habitual responses allows for smoother interactions, reduces misunderstandings, and increases the likelihood of positive outcomes. Practical exercises enhance skill development. Begin with one person per Dalton Y and observe a single habit closely. Note how often it occurs, in what context, and any accompanying emotional or behavioral cues. Over time, expand observation to multiple habits and multiple individuals. Practice reflecting on patterns, interpreting significance, and anticipating possible future behavior. Recording insights in a journal reinforces learning and builds predictive ability. Integration with other observational skills magnifies effectiveness. Combining habit observation with body language, speech analysis, and micro-expression, awareness provides a comprehensive understanding of behavior. For instance, observing a colleague's habitual fidgeting, paired with a nervous tone and hesitant speech, reinforces the prediction of stress or discomfort. Multiple layers of observation create confidence in anticipating behavior accurately and responding appropriately. Observing habits daily also teaches self-mastery. By recognizing patterns in others, you develop discipline in attention, analysis, and reflection. This practice naturally extends to observing your own habits, understanding personal routines, triggers, and automatic behaviors, fosters self-awareness, and the ability to adjust actions to align with goals and values. Habit observation becomes both a tool for understanding others and a method for self-improvement. Ethical application of habit observation is vital. Observing patterns should be used to understand, anticipate, and connect, not manipulate or exploit. Respect privacy and maintain integrity. Using these insights ethically strengthens relationships, builds trust, and enhances influence in a positive, responsible way. When applied with integrity, habit observation becomes a powerful tool for leadership, mentorship, and personal growth. Over time, daily observation of habits sharpens intuition. You begin to recognize behavior before it occurs, predict responses, and make informed decisions in interactions. This predictive ability is not based on guesswork, but on disciplined attention to patterns and evidence. The skill enhances confidence, reduces uncertainty, and creates a proactive approach to social and professional situations. Anticipating behavior allows for thoughtful, strategic responses rather than reactive ones. Consistency in observation is the foundation of mastery. Sporadic attention yields incomplete insights, while regular, focused observation builds a detailed understanding of human behavior. Make it a daily practice to note routines, small actions, and repeated behaviors. Gradually, this awareness becomes intuitive, allowing you to read people and situations with clarity and precision. The more consistently you observe, the more accurate your predictions, and the more empowered your responses. Recognizing habits also improves problem solving. Understanding patterns reveals underlying causes of behavior, enabling interventions that address root issues rather than surface symptoms. For example, If a team member consistently misses deadlines due to habitual procrastination, providing structured guidance rather than criticism addresses the real challenge. Habit observation provides insight into motivation, obstacles, and effective strategies for change. In personal relationships, observing habits deepens intimacy and trust. Knowing how someone behaves naturally, what they prioritize, and how they react under stress enables better communication, support, and connection. Relationships thrive when actions are understood and anticipated, reducing friction and enhancing emotional safety. Observing habits fosters patience, empathy, and mutual respect, laying the groundwork for lasting bonds. In professional settings, habit observation enhances leadership, collaboration, and influence. Recognizing consistent behaviors allows leaders to assign tasks effectively, anticipate challenges, and support team members strategically. Predicting behavior before it occurs reduces conflict, improves efficiency, and strengthens group dynamics. Habit observation is a tool for proactive management and thoughtful engagement, creating a more productive and harmonious environment. Ultimately, observing habits daily equips you with a lens into human behavior that is consistent, reliable, and actionable. Habits reflect priorities, emotions, and personality, providing insight into how people are likely to act. By paying attention to recurring routines, habits, environmental responses, and patterns over time, you gain the ability to anticipate behavior before it happens. This skill enhances relationships, communication, empathy, leadership, and self-awareness. Habit observation is a disciplined practice with profound practical value, offering clarity, predictability, and strategic advantage in every area of life. The power of observing habits lies in its universality. Everyone develops routines, whether consciously or unconsciously. By noticing patterns, you tap into a consistent stream of behavioral information, allowing for informed, strategic, and compassionate engagement. Daily observation sharpens insight, strengthens intuition, and enhances decision-making. Over time, the consistent practice of watching habits transforms understanding into foresight, building a foundation for emotional intelligence, personal growth, and meaningful connection. Chapter 5. Apply empathy consistently to influence trust and respect naturally. Empathy is the bridge between understanding and meaningful connection. It is the ability to feel with someone rather than simply acknowledging their words. True empathy requires active engagement with another person's emotional state, perspective, and experiences. Practicing empathy consistently builds trust, strengthens relationships, and earns respect because people sense when they are genuinely understood. It is not a passive response, but a deliberate habit cultivated through awareness, attention, and intentional action. Developing this skill transforms interactions from transactional to relational, allowing influence to grow naturally and ethically. The first step in applying empathy is paying close attention. Observation is more than watching gestures or listening to words. It is noticing subtle emotional cues that reveal the inner state of a person. Facial expressions, movements, tone changes, and body posture are indicators of feelings that words alone may not express. By observing these cues attentively, you gain access to emotional truths that guide your responses. Attention is the foundation of empathy because without noticing the signals of others, it is impossible to connect deeply. Another essential aspect of empathy is suspending judgment. People often react defensively when they feel judged or dismissed. To influence trust and respect, you must approach interactions with openness, accepting the other person's feelings and experiences without criticism. This does not require agreement, but it does require acknowledgement. Recognizing another person's perspective validates their experience and communicates that their emotions matter. Consistently practicing non-judgment strengthens credibility and fosters a sense of safety in relationships. Active listening enhances empathy by allowing people to express themselves fully. Listening involves giving attention, reflecting on what is said, and responding thoughtfully. Asking clarifying questions shows interest and demonstrates that you care about understanding rather than reacting. By allowing space for expression, you communicate respect and create an environment where honesty and transparency can flourish. Listening actively combined with empathetic reflection deepens connection and creates an atmosphere of mutual trust. Empathy also requires understanding unspoken needs. Many emotions are conveyed indirectly through tone, behavior, and context rather than explicit statements. A person may show frustration through subtle sighs or withdrawal rather than direct complaints. Recognizing these cues allows you to respond to the underlying emotional need rather than only addressing surface-level issues. Anticipating feelings and motivations demonstrates awareness and attentiveness, which enhances credibility and strengthens relationships. Practical empathy is strengthened through emotional mirroring. This involves acknowledging and reflecting the other person's feelings in a genuine way. For instance, if someone expresses disappointment, responding with acknowledgement such as, "I see this has been frustrating for you," conveys recognition of their emotional state. Mirroring emotions does not mean absorbing them entirely, but showing understanding. This technique fosters a sense of validation and helps build rapport naturally and effectively. Consistency in empathetic behavior creates lasting influence. People notice when concern is sincere and repeated over time. Random or selective displays of empathy are less impactful because they lack reliability. Developing a pattern of empathetic engagement ensures that interactions build trust steadily. Daily practice in small interactions, whether with colleagues, friends, or family, reinforces the habit and gradually shapes perception. Consistency transforms empathy from an occasional act into a characteristic quality that others recognize and respect. Empathy involves recognizing personal biases that may distort understanding. Everyone has perspectives shaped by experiences, beliefs, and values. To connect effectively, you must identify these biases and set them aside when interacting. Approaching people with a neutral mindset increases accuracy in perceiving emotions and intentions. Awareness of biases prevents misinterpretation and ensures that empathy is authentic and responsive, rather than filtered through personal judgment. Applying empathy strategically requires observing emotional triggers. Understanding which topics, actions, or behaviors provoke strong reactions allows you to navigate interactions with sensitivity. By noticing patterns, you can avoid unnecessary conflict and address concerns in ways that are considerate and constructive. Emotional awareness not only protects relationships, but also enhances your ability to influence outcomes positively. Recognizing triggers and responding empathetically builds respect and creates opportunities for collaboration. Empathy extends beyond immediate interactions into long-term understanding. Observing how people respond across situations over time allows you to predict behavior and anticipate needs. This predictive insight is not manipulation, but a practical application of understanding. By integrating observations with empathetic responses, you can approach interactions thoughtfully and proactively, increasing effectiveness in both personal and professional contexts. Expressing empathy verbally and non-verbally strengthens impact. Words alone may not convey genuine concern. Tone, facial expression, and body language reinforce your message. Maintaining eye contact, nodding subtly, and matching energy levels communicates attentiveness and care. Verbal affirmations paired with authentic non-verbal signals ensure that your empathy is perceived as sincere, enhancing trust and emotional connection. Empathy also requires patience. People process emotions and experiences at different speeds, and responses are rarely immediate. Allowing time for reflection and expression without pressure demonstrates respect for the individual's process. Patience in listening, observing, and responding fosters a safe environment where trust can develop naturally. Over time, patience combined with empathy builds relationships that are resilient and mutually beneficial. Self-awareness is critical in empathetic engagement. Understanding your own emotions ensures that responses are measured, authentic, and constructive. Recognizing personal triggers prevents emotional projection onto others and enables clearer perception of the other person's state. Self-awareness enhances the quality of empathy because it allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than reactively, maintaining credibility and composure in every interaction. Empathy strengthens problem-solving and conflict resolution. By understanding the feelings and perspectives of all parties, you can identify solutions that address emotional needs as well as practical concerns. Empathetic problem-solving reduces resistance, increases cooperation, and creates outcomes that are sustainable and mutually satisfying. The consistent application of empathy transforms challenges into opportunities for growth and connection. Developing empathy requires deliberate practice. Daily interactions serve as opportunities to observe emotional states, respond thoughtfully, and reflect on outcomes. Journaling experiences and analyzing emotional cues enhances learning and strengthens intuition. Practice ensures that empathy becomes instinctive, allowing you to respond naturally in diverse situations while maintaining clarity, respect, and influence. Empathy is essential for building trust. People instinctively sense whether concern is genuine or performative. Consistently demonstrating understanding and consideration communicates reliability, integrity, and respect. Trust, once established, allows relationships to deepen, communication to improve, and influence to expand. Without empathy, trust is fragile. With it, relationships are resilient. Applying empathy consistently also fosters respect. People respect those who recognize their experiences, validate their emotions, and respond thoughtfully. Respect is earned through repeated demonstration of attentiveness and understanding. Empathy signals that you value others not only for what they do but also for who they are, creating a foundation of mutual regard that strengthens collaboration, loyalty, and cooperation. Ethical use of empathy ensures authenticity. Observing emotional states and responding with understanding should never be a tool for manipulation. Genuine empathy builds influence through respect, credibility, and integrity. Using this skill responsibly fosters long-term relationships and creates a positive impact that aligns with personal and professional values. Empathy enhances leadership effectiveness. Leaders who consistently understand and respond to emotional states inspire loyalty, engagement, and cooperation. Recognizing the challenges, motivations, and needs of team members allows for informed guidance and support. Leadership grounded in empathy cultivates a productive environment where individuals feel valued and understood, enhancing overall performance and satisfaction. Empathy also improves communication across cultural and social differences. Understanding perspectives shaped by diverse experiences reduces misinterpretation and fosters inclusivity. Observing habits, listening actively, and responding with consideration allows for connection across boundaries that might otherwise impede understanding. Empathy bridges gaps and enables cooperation in complex social environments. The practice of empathy extends beyond words. Actions that demonstrate understanding, consideration, and support reinforce verbal communication. Offering assistance, acknowledging feelings through gestures, and adapting behavior to meet emotional needs communicates empathy effectively. People remember how they are treated and understood, which strengthens bonds more profoundly than words alone. Long-term application of empathy cultivates emotional intelligence. Recognizing, understanding, and responding to emotions in yourself and others enhances decision-making, conflict resolution, and relationship management. Empathy becomes an integrated skill that guides behavior consistently, shaping interactions with awareness, integrity, and effectiveness. Emotional intelligence developed through empathy enables personal growth and meaningful connection in all areas of life. Empathy practiced daily creates a ripple effect. Demonstrating understanding encourages reciprocity, inspiring others to listen, support, and respond thoughtfully. The consistent application of empathy strengthens networks, improves collaboration, and fosters environments where people feel valued and respected. The influence gained through empathy is subtle yet profound, building connections that are resilient, authentic, and mutually beneficial. Ultimately, applying empathy consistently requires intention, observation, and disciplined practice. It involves noticing emotions, suspending judgment, listening actively, responding thoughtfully, and reflecting on outcomes. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to strengthen connection, build trust, and earn respect. Empathy is not passive. It is an actionable skill that transforms relationships, enhances communication, and creates lasting, positive impact. When practiced consistently, empathy becomes a natural habit that guides behavior, influences outcomes, and fosters meaningful human connection. Chapter 6. Recognize psychological triggers to respond thoughtfully in interactions. Human behavior is often influenced by invisible levers known as psychological triggers. These are stimuli that provoke specific emotional responses or behaviors, sometimes automatically and without conscious thought. Recognizing these triggers in others allows you to navigate interactions with precision, respond thoughtfully, and prevent unnecessary conflict. It is a skill rooted in observation, awareness, and disciplined reflection, enabling deeper understanding of people's motivations and reactions. By identifying psychological triggers, you gain the ability to predict responses, communicate effectively, and foster more positive relationships. The first step is developing keen observation. Psychological triggers often manifest subtly through tone of voice, body movements, and facial expressions. Certain words, topics, or gestures can elicit visible or emotional responses. Observing these responses closely over multiple interactions reveals patterns that indicate what causes discomfort, excitement, defensiveness, or joy. These patterns are consistent and predictable once identified, providing actionable insights for communication and relationship management. Triggers are unique to individuals, shaped by past experiences, beliefs, and personal values. What irritates one person may inspire another, and what motivates one may overwhelm someone else. Understanding that triggers are deeply personal prevents assumptions and ensures that responses are tailored effectively. By observing how people react in different situations, you gain insight into their emotional wiring and can anticipate reactions to specific stimuli. This allows for more thoughtful and strategic interactions. Listening carefully is essential to detecting psychological triggers. People often reveal what affects them emotionally through language patterns, repetition, or emphasis. Paying attention to word choices, tone, and pacing can indicate sensitivity to certain topics or ideas. A phrase repeated multiple times may signal a point of significance or emotional weight. Recognizing these verbal cues provides early warning signs for potential triggers, enabling proactive and measured responses. Non-verbal cues complement observation of verbal signals. Gestures, posture, and facial expressions often reveal reactions before words are spoken. Tension in the shoulders, a clenched jaw, or shifting gaze may indicate discomfort or stress. Subtle body language combined with verbal observation creates a complete understanding of triggers, allowing you to respond in ways that reduce friction and foster positive engagement. Reflection after interactions strengthens recognition skills. After a conversation or encounter, reviewing reactions and behaviors helps identify what caused emotional spikes or behavioral shifts. Noting specific triggers and correlating them with outcomes builds a mental map of responses. Over time, this reflection enhances your ability to anticipate reactions in real time and respond thoughtfully, improving both personal and professional interactions. Predicting behavior is a key benefit of recognizing triggers. When you understand what provokes certain responses, you can adjust your approach to prevent negative outcomes and encourage positive ones. For example, avoiding language that evokes defensiveness in a colleague ensures smoother collaboration. Anticipating emotional responses allows interactions to remain constructive, reduces tension, and increases trust and cooperation. Self-awareness is critical in responding thoughtfully. Recognizing your own triggers ensures that your reactions are deliberate rather than impulsive. Being aware of personal sensitivities prevents projection onto others and allows for clearer perception of their emotional state. Self-regulation combined with observation of others creates balanced, respectful interactions and ensures that communication remains effective under pressure. Triggers often operate within patterns. People respond predictably to specific situations, words, or actions. Identifying these recurring patterns allows you to navigate challenging interactions with clarity. Observing which behaviors consistently provoke reactions provides insight into boundaries, vulnerabilities, and priorities. Awareness of these patterns enables strategic planning, effective communication, and meaningful influence without manipulation. Empathy enhances your ability to respond thoughtfully to triggers. Understanding the emotional context behind a reaction allows you to address concerns rather than react defensively. Responding with compassion, acknowledgement, and support mitigates conflict and fosters cooperation. Empathy, combined with awareness of triggers, builds credibility, strengthens relationships, and encourages openness in communication. Practical exercises develop sensitivity to psychological triggers. Start by observing one individual in multiple interactions, noting any behavioral or emotional changes. Identify the words, topics, or actions that evoke these responses. Reflect on the emotional and situational context. Over time, expand this practice to different people and scenarios, gradually improving recognition and anticipation of triggers. Documenting observations reinforces learning and sharpens intuition. Timing plays a critical role in addressing triggers. People's responses may vary depending on circumstances, mood, or environment. Recognizing when someone is most receptive or vulnerable allows you to communicate with maximum effectiveness. Choosing the right moment to address sensitive issues ensures that discussions remain constructive and prevents escalation of negative emotions. Timing combined with understanding triggers increases influence and fosters cooperation. Ethical application is essential. Recognizing triggers is not a tool for exploitation, but for constructive engagement. Using this insight to manipulate or coerce undermines trust and damages relationships. Ethical use focuses on understanding, supporting, and influencing positively. Responding thoughtfully to triggers demonstrates integrity, strengthens credibility, and fosters respect over the long term. Observation extends beyond individual interactions. Group dynamics reveal collective triggers that influence behavior in social or professional settings. Certain topics, tones, or actions may evoke predictable responses from a team or audience. Recognizing these group triggers allows for proactive management, smoother communication, and a more harmonious environment. Awareness of both individual and collective triggers enhances leadership and relational skills. Anticipating escalation is another practical application. Many conflicts arise when triggers are ignored or misunderstood. By recognizing early signs of tension or agitation, you can intervene constructively before situations worsen. Adjusting language, tone, or approach in response to triggers prevents misunderstandings and encourages collaboration. Anticipating emotional shifts ensures that interactions remain focused, respectful, and productive. Triggers also inform motivational strategies. Understanding what inspires or excites individuals allows you to frame requests, feedback, or guidance effectively. Aligning communication with positive triggers encourages engagement, reinforces desired behavior, and builds rapport. Recognition of motivational cues is as important as understanding sensitive triggers because it shapes both influence and outcomes. Reflection on personal responses after observing triggers deepens learning. Ask questions such as why a reaction occurred, how it could have been mitigated, and what alternative approaches might be effective. This reflection builds strategic thinking emotional intelligence, and resilience. Continuous refinement of responses enhances your ability to handle complex interpersonal dynamics thoughtfully and effectively. Responding thoughtfully requires restraint. Emotional impulses often urge immediate reactions, especially when confronted with challenging triggers. Practicing restraint allows time for observation, reflection, and deliberate choice in responding. Thoughtful responses reduce conflict, convey control, and enhance influence. They demonstrate maturity, awareness, and the capacity to navigate relationships intelligently. Triggers often intersect with habits, personality traits, and context. Observing how these elements interact provides a holistic view of behavior. For instance, repeated frustration under specific conditions may reflect both personal sensitivities and environmental factors. Understanding the interaction of triggers with broader behavioral patterns enables more accurate predictions and strategic responses. Practical application involves preparation for challenging interactions, identify potential triggers, plan responses, and anticipate emotional reactions. Developing a strategy reduces the likelihood of reactive behavior and increases confidence in communication. Preparation ensures that interactions remain constructive, focused, and aligned with long-term relational goals. Recognizing triggers also improves problem solving. Understanding the underlying emotional or psychological causes of behavior allows interventions that address root issues rather than surface conflicts. This approach encourages cooperation, reduces resistance, and fosters solutions that are sustainable and mutually beneficial. Thoughtful responses guided by trigger awareness strengthen relationships and enhance outcomes. The ability to recognize and respond to psychological triggers strengthens leadership and influence. Leaders who understand what motivates or unsettles individuals can communicate effectively, provide guidance strategically, and create environments that encourage engagement and productivity. Awareness of triggers allows for proactive management of team dynamics, improving collaboration, morale, and performance. Mastering this skill over time creates foresight in interactions. You begin to notice emotional patterns, anticipate responses, and adjust behavior preemptively. This foresight allows for smoother communication, reduced conflict, and stronger connection. Recognizing triggers becomes intuitive, enhancing both personal and professional relationships as well as decision-making and influence. Ultimately, recognizing psychological triggers is a disciplined practice of observation, reflection, and intentional response. It combines awareness of behavior, emotional sensitivity, empathy, and strategic thinking. By understanding what provokes reactions in yourself and others, you respond thoughtfully, maintain composure, and influence outcomes positively. This skill builds trust, earns respect, and strengthens relationships. It is a foundation for emotional intelligence, personal growth, and meaningful engagement with the world around you. Chapter 7. Harness emotional intelligence to manage yourself and others confidently. Emotional intelligence is the cornerstone of effective leadership, communication, and personal mastery. It allows you to understand, regulate, and leverage emotions to achieve clarity, influence, and resilience. Managing yourself begins with recognizing your own emotional states, identifying triggers, and consciously choosing responses. Managing others requires empathy, perception, and strategic application of understanding. Harnessing emotional intelligence transforms interactions from reactive to intentional, empowering you to navigate complexity confidently and consistently. It is both a practical skill and a mindset, cultivated through attention, practice, and reflection. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. Knowing how emotions arise, what influences them, and how they affect thoughts and behavior creates a framework for deliberate action. Observing your reactions in real time provides insight into patterns that may otherwise go unnoticed. By identifying emotional triggers and habitual responses, you gain control over impulses, reduce stress, and approach challenges with clarity. Developing self-awareness is a daily practice that strengthens judgment and decision making under pressure self. Regulation follows awareness. Once you understand your emotional patterns, you can consciously manage them. This means pausing before reacting, assessing options, and responding thoughtfully. Self-regulation prevents escalation of conflict, promotes consistency, and demonstrates composure. It allows you to maintain focus in high-stakes situations and respond to others in ways that inspire trust. Emotional mastery begins with managing yourself effectively, creating a stable foundation for navigating interpersonal dynamics. Motivation enhances emotional intelligence by aligning emotions with goals and values. Individuals who harness internal drive approach tasks with purpose, resilience, and optimism. Understanding what fuels personal motivation allows for focused energy and consistent effort, even in challenging circumstances. Recognizing motivational drivers in others enables guidance, encouragement, and support that resonate authentically. Motivation bridges emotion and action, transforming insight into productive results. Empathy is central to managing relationships confidently. Recognizing and understanding the emotions of others allows for effective connection, support, and influence. Empathy requires observing verbal and nonverbal cues, interpreting behavior accurately, and responding in ways that validate feelings while encouraging constructive action. When applied consistently, empathy fosters trust, reduces resistance, and creates collaboration. Emotional intelligence leverages empathy as both a perception tool and a relational strategy, enabling deeper engagement. Social skills complement empathy by translating awareness into action. Communication, persuasion, conflict resolution, and teamwork rely on emotional insight. Effective social skills involve adjusting language, tone, and approach based on the audience's emotional state. This allows influence to be exercised naturally and ethically by practicing active listening, providing constructive feedback, and maintaining respectful interactions. Emotional intelligence becomes a tool for leadership, cooperation, and meaningful impact. Practical observation of emotional patterns enhances confidence. Noticing recurring emotional responses in yourself and others provides predictive insight. For instance, understanding how a colleague reacts under stress allows you to anticipate needs and approach interactions strategically. Predicting emotional tendencies improves preparation, reduces friction, and strengthens influence. Awareness and interpretation of emotional cues foster an environment of trust and reliability. Self-management extends to handling setbacks and stress. Emotional intelligence enables reflection rather than reaction when facing challenges. Recognizing emotional escalation and employing calming strategies, such as deliberate breathing, reframing, or focused attention, maintains clarity. These techniques prevent impulsive decisions and ensure consistent, thoughtful responses. Mastery over personal emotion creates stability and authority, reinforcing credibility in all interactions. Emotional intelligence develops through continuous reflection. After interactions, analyze responses, outcomes, and emotional patterns. Ask which approaches were effective, which were influenced by personal bias, and what adjustments could improve future engagement. Reflective practice transforms experience into insight, gradually enhancing intuition and the ability to navigate complex interpersonal dynamics confidently. Ethical application of emotional intelligence strengthens trust and influence. Using emotional insight to manipulate or control undermines credibility and damages relationships. Applied ethically, it fosters collaboration, encourages growth, and strengthens long-term engagement. Awareness combined with integrity ensures that emotional intelligence serves constructive purposes and creates mutually beneficial outcomes. Developing emotional literacy enhances understanding of subtle cues. Recognizing variations in tone, micro-expressions, and body language allows deeper insight into unspoken feelings. Emotional literacy enables identification of concerns, motivations, and desires, providing actionable intelligence for communication and relationship management. The ability to perceive nuances in emotional expression empowers informed, strategic engagement. Practical exercises include journaling emotions, observing reactions, and identifying patterns in interactions. Tracking emotional responses builds awareness and highlights triggers. Noting emotional reactions in others reinforces empathy and social perception. By reviewing these observations regularly, emotional intelligence grows incrementally, strengthening confidence in both self-management and relational influence. Emotional intelligence also fosters resilience. Understanding the temporary nature of emotions prevents overreaction and maintains focus. Recognizing patterns in personal emotional responses allows for early intervention, reducing stress and maintaining composure. Resilience enhances problem-solving, decision-making, and leadership under pressure, creating an environment where challenges are met with clarity and control. Confidence emerges from consistent application of emotional intelligence. Mastery of self-regulation, awareness, empathy, and social skills creates predictable, thoughtful responses that inspire trust. People naturally respect those who demonstrate control, understanding, and consideration. Confidence in managing emotions translates into authority and credibility, reinforcing influence without the need for coercion. Anticipating emotional reactions improves communication effectiveness. Recognizing how someone is likely to feel in response to words, actions, or situations allows you to frame messages thoughtfully. This reduces miscommunication, prevents conflict, and encourages positive engagement. Anticipation combined with empathy enables proactive problem solving and strengthens relationships by showing attentiveness and consideration. Developing emotional intelligence requires discipline in both observation and action. Daily practice involves monitoring your own emotional state, reflecting on interactions, and applying insights to guide behavior. Over time, recognition and management of emotional patterns become instinctive, enabling confident, effective navigation of complex social and professional environments. Leadership benefits greatly from emotional intelligence. Leaders who understand the emotional landscape of their team can provide guidance that resonates, motivate effectively, and manage challenges constructively. Emotional intelligence allows leaders to recognize potential conflict early, mediate disputes thoughtfully, and foster engagement. The ability to read and respond to emotions with clarity and composure strengthens authority and encourages loyalty decision. Making improves through emotional insight. Awareness of personal biases, triggers, and emotional influences prevents reactive choices. Considering the emotional impact of decisions on others ensures actions are both strategic and considerate. Emotional intelligence integrates rational analysis with emotional understanding, resulting in decisions that are balanced, ethical, and effective. Practical application includes observing responses to stress, praise, and feedback. Understanding how different situations influence emotional reactions allows adaptation in communication and approach. Anticipating responses and adjusting delivery ensures interactions remain productive and respectful. Observing outcomes provides feedback that reinforces learning and strengthens predictive ability. Emotional intelligence also supports collaboration. Recognizing the emotional needs of colleagues, partners, or team members fosters cooperation and alignment. Addressing concerns proactively and responding empathetically encourages participation and commitment. Teams function more effectively when emotional dynamics are understood and managed thoughtfully, creating an environment of mutual respect and shared purpose. Ultimately, harnessing emotional intelligence is a lifelong process. It integrates self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, motivation, and social skill into consistent action. Daily practice in observing, reflecting, and responding builds mastery, enabling confident management of oneself and others. Emotional intelligence empowers thoughtful communication, reduces conflict, fosters trust, and enhances influence. Mastery of this skill transforms relationships, leadership, and personal effectiveness, creating opportunities for growth, success, and meaningful connection. Chapter 8. Interpret micro-expressions quickly to uncover hidden feelings accurately. Micro-expressions are fleeting, involuntary facial expressions that reveal true emotions, often before the person consciously controls their response. They are subtle indicators of feelings such as fear, anger, joy, surprise, disgust, sadness, or contempt. Learning to interpret these signals accurately allows you to understand emotions that may not be expressed verbally. Mastering micro-expression recognition is a practical tool for navigating personal and professional interactions with clarity and confidence. It enables informed responses, builds deeper trust, and enhances your ability to connect authentically with others. The first step is to develop focused observation. Micro-expressions can last only a fraction of a second, so noticing them requires attentive awareness. Eyes, eyebrows, mouth, and overall facial tension often provide the most reliable cues. Observing changes in these areas during conversation, before verbal expression, offers insight into hidden emotional states. Attention to subtle shifts in expression allows you to detect feelings that may otherwise go unnoticed, providing a powerful advantage in understanding people. It is essential to link expressions with context. A facial twitch, a brief frown, or a small smile gains meaning when combined with the situation, tone, and behavior. For example, a quick grimace during discussion about a sensitive topic indicates discomfort, concern, or disagreement. Contextual analysis ensures that interpretations are accurate rather than speculative, allowing for thoughtful and appropriate responses that respect the emotional reality of the other person. Practicing observation in real-time interactions improves accuracy. Start by watching brief social exchanges, noting small facial movements and corresponding emotional states. Compare observations with verbal responses to identify consistencies and discrepancies. Over time, you build a mental catalog of common expressions and their emotional associations. This deliberate practice enhances both recognition speed and reliability, allowing micro-expressions to inform communication effectively. Micro-expressions often precede verbal disclosure. They reveal the immediate emotional reaction before reasoning or social filters influence behavior. By noticing these signals, you can respond with empathy, tact, or support before misunderstanding arises. Observing the instant emotional response provides an opportunity to address needs, validate feelings, or de-escalate tension before it escalates, demonstrating attentiveness and emotional intelligence. Eyes convey significant information in micro-expression analysis. Subtle changes such as widening, narrowing, or brief glances away indicate attention, surprise, discomfort, or anxiety. Eye movement combined with facial tension enhances understanding of hidden feelings. Paying close attention to ocular cues allows you to interpret emotions accurately and respond thoughtfully, creating deeper connection and trust in interactions. Mouth and lip movements are equally important. Tightening, pursing, or twitching of lips often signals stress, frustration, or concealment of negative emotions. A slight upward twitch may indicate suppressed amusement or satisfaction. Observing these small cues, alongside eyes and facial muscles, provides a complete understanding of emotional state. Accurate interpretation allows you to tailor responses and maintain rapport effectively. Micro-expressions are linked to authenticity. People often mask emotions with deliberate gestures, but involuntary expressions leak true feelings. Detecting these subtle signals provides insight into hidden concerns, anxieties, or intentions. By responding to authentic emotions rather than surface-level expressions, you communicate understanding and create trust. Recognizing authenticity ensures that interactions are grounded in reality, not perception alone. Practicing patience is crucial. Micro-expression recognition requires slowing down mental processing to observe brief signals. Initial attempts may be challenging, but consistent practice improves speed and accuracy. Observing without rushing or assuming meaning fosters clarity. Developing this skill gradually enhances perception, intuition, and decision-making, allowing you to respond with confidence and effectiveness in diverse situations. Combining micro-expression interpretation with other observational skills amplifies insight. Body language, posture, and tone provide supporting information that confirms or clarifies the meaning of subtle facial cues. For example, a slight frown paired with crossed arms and stiff posture may indicate defensiveness rather than mere concentration. Integrating multiple layers of observation ensures that responses are grounded in accurate interpretation and actionable understanding. Practical exercises involve daily practice in everyday interactions. Observe conversations in professional, social, or public settings, focusing on brief expressions that reveal hidden feelings. Note differences between verbal content and nonverbal signals. Reflect on outcomes and adjust interpretations over time. Journaling observations strengthens memory and recognition, creating a feedback loop that accelerates skill development and increases predictive accuracy in real interactions. Understanding emotional intensity is part of micro-expression mastery. Minor expressions often indicate mild reactions, while stronger, more pronounced micro-expressions suggest significant emotional investment. Recognizing intensity helps prioritize responses, whether offering support, clarifying misunderstandings, or addressing conflict. Responding proportionally to emotional intensity demonstrates awareness, thoughtfulness, and respect for the other person's experience. Ethical application is critical. Interpreting hidden emotions is not a tool for manipulation, but for understanding and constructive engagement. Respect privacy, respond with integrity, and use insight to foster connection rather than exploit vulnerability. Ethical application enhances credibility, trust, and long-term influence. Interpreting micro-expressions responsibly creates a foundation for meaningful, mutually beneficial relationships. Recognizing patterns in micro-expressions builds predictive capability. Individuals often display consistent emotional reactions in specific situations. Observing these patterns over time allows anticipation of emotional states before they are consciously expressed. This predictive insight improves communication, reduces friction, and enhances collaboration. Anticipating emotional responses enables proactive engagement, ensuring that interactions remain positive and productive. Micro-expression analysis improves conflict management. Rapid recognition of hidden discomfort, frustration, or anger allows timely intervention. Addressing underlying emotions rather than reacting to surface behavior prevents escalation. Responding thoughtfully to subtle emotional signals creates a calmer, more constructive environment. This skill empowers problem-solving, negotiation, and resolution without unnecessary tension. Self-awareness enhances micro-expression interpretation. Understanding your own facial cues, reactions, and biases prevents projection and ensures accurate perception of others. Being aware of your emotional state reduces distortion in interpretation and allows for objective observation. Self-regulation in conjunction with micro-expression awareness strengthens interpersonal effectiveness, ensuring responses are intentional, clear, and considerate. Training observation of micro-expressions improves leadership. Leaders who perceive subtle emotions in teams can address concerns early, motivate effectively, and prevent misunderstandings. Recognizing unspoken reactions allows guidance, support, and correction to be delivered with empathy and precision. Leaders who respond to hidden feelings gain credibility, foster trust, and encourage engagement, strengthening influence without overt pressure. Combining micro-expression recognition with empathy amplifies connection. Understanding unspoken feelings allows for supportive, validating, and constructive responses. Empathetic interpretation ensures that insights translate into meaningful action rather than mere observation. This combination strengthens relationships, improves communication, and enhances influence across personal and professional contexts. Observation should be continuous and deliberate. Micro-expressions are fleeting, and their meaning is context-dependent. Remaining attentive throughout interactions ensures that no signal is missed. Continuous practice develops intuition, allowing recognition to become natural and automatic. Over time, micro-expression awareness becomes a reliable guide for understanding emotions, intentions, and reactions. Reflection after observation reinforces learning. Reviewing interactions and comparing interpretations with outcomes strengthens accuracy and understanding. Documenting examples, noting context, and analyzing emotional responses improves recognition speed and confidence. Reflection transforms isolated observations into structured knowledge, enhancing both predictive insight and practical application. Mastering micro-expression interpretation improves overall emotional intelligence. Accurate recognition of subtle emotions allows for better self-regulation, empathy, and social interaction. Understanding hidden feelings provides insight into motivations, needs, and potential conflicts. This skill enhances decision-making, leadership, and relationship management, creating influence that is informed, ethical, and effective. Ultimately, interpreting micro-expressions quickly and accurately is a skill of observation, reflection, and intentional application. It provides access to hidden emotions, fosters understanding, and enhances communication. Mastery allows for proactive, thoughtful responses, strengthening trust, connection, and influence. The ability to perceive what is not said empowers confident interaction, deeper relationships, and meaningful impact. Daily practice, ethical application, and attentive observation ensure this skill becomes a natural and powerful component of personal and professional growth. Chapter 9. Practice patience intentionally to improve communication and relationships daily. Patience is one of the most powerful yet often overlooked skills in personal growth and effective communication. It is the ability to pause, observe, and respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Practicing patience intentionally transforms relationships, reduces conflict, and enhances emotional intelligence. It allows you to listen actively, understand perspectives, and respond with clarity and composure. Patience is not passive waiting. It is an active skill that requires awareness, discipline, and consistent application in daily interactions. The first step in developing patience is recognizing emotional impulses. Emotional reactions often drive quick responses that can escalate conflict or miscommunication. Observing your own emotions as they arise enables you to identify the urge to react impulsively. By acknowledging these impulses without acting on them immediately, you create space to respond thoughtfully. This pause allows clarity, reduces mistakes, and strengthens self-control, laying the foundation for intentional patience. Mindful observation is essential in practicing patience. Paying attention to the flow of conversation, the body language of others, and the context of interactions allows you to respond appropriately. Mindfulness prevents assumptions, reduces frustration, and helps you remain focused on the present moment. By observing without judgment, you gain insight into others' perspectives, motivations, and needs, which fosters understanding and strengthens relationships. Active listening enhances patient communication. Listening fully, without interrupting, ensures that people feel heard and valued. Avoiding the temptation to respond immediately or formulate counterarguments demonstrates respect and attentiveness. Clarifying questions or reflective statements show engagement and understanding. Consistently practicing patient listening builds trust, encourages openness, and improves the quality of interactions across personal and professional settings. Deliberate breathing and grounding techniques support patience. When emotions run high, taking a moment to focus on your breath or to pause physically can prevent reactive behavior. Deep, controlled breathing reduces tension, slows cognitive processing, and allows for rational decision. Grounding yourself in this way reinforces the ability to respond thoughtfully. ensuring that interactions remain constructive even in challenging situations. Patience is strengthened through awareness of others' emotional states. Understanding that people process information, feelings, and challenges at different speeds reduces frustration. Observing reactions and waiting for clarity before responding demonstrates empathy and consideration. This awareness fosters a supportive environment, allowing for productive conversation and collaboration while minimizing conflict and misunderstandings. Practicing patience requires intentionality in action, consciously choosing to respond after a thoughtful pause, rather than instinctively increases self-discipline. Setting this intention before entering conversations or meetings improves consistency. Over time, intentional patience becomes habitual, shaping how you engage with others and reinforcing your ability to manage emotions under pressure. Reflection after interactions deepens the practice of patience. Reviewing responses, emotional reactions, and outcomes allows you to identify where patience was exercised effectively and where improvement is possible. Reflection strengthens self-awareness, enhances decision-making, and encourages ongoing refinement. By learning from experience, patience becomes more natural, predictable, and impactful. Patience also improves conflict resolution. Responding with composure instead of immediate reaction reduces tension and prevents escalation, allowing space for dialogue, understanding opposing perspectives, and addressing issues thoughtfully creates constructive solutions. Practicing patience in conflict situations builds credibility, demonstrates maturity, and fosters cooperation even in challenging circumstances. Anticipating reactions is a practical strategy for maintaining patience. Predicting how people may respond allows preparation for potential emotional spikes or disagreements. This foresight provides a buffer, enabling measured responses rather than impulsive reactions. Anticipation combined with awareness strengthens both communication and influence, creating a stable foundation for meaningful engagement. Patience enhances long-term relationship quality. People naturally respond positively to those who listen, understand, and respond thoughtfully. Consistent patience signals respect and reliability, encouraging trust and openness. Over time, relationships deepen, collaboration improves, and emotional bonds strengthen. Practicing patience consistently creates lasting personal and professional connections that are resilient under pressure. Self-control is closely linked to patience. Recognizing the difference between reaction and response empowers deliberate decision-making. Delaying immediate action allows evaluation of consequences, leading to more effective communication and problem-solving. Self-control also reduces stress, enhances focus, and supports emotional balance, making patient behavior both sustainable and impactful. Empathy supports the development of patience. Understanding the challenges, emotions, and perspectives of others reduces impatience. When you empathize, you recognize that responses and behaviors are influenced by factors beyond the present moment. Patience combined with empathy fosters supportive interactions, encourages collaboration, and strengthens rapport. This alignment of understanding and timing creates meaningful connection and influence. Patience requires flexibility in approach. Recognizing that every interaction is unique prevents rigid expectations and frustration. Adapting communication style, tone, and pacing to suit the situation allows for smoother engagement. Flexibility ensures that patience remains effective and responsive rather than passive or dismissive. Practicing adaptability strengthens resilience and improves relational outcomes. Practical exercises reinforce intentional patience. Begin with small daily interactions, deliberately pausing before responding to emails, messages, or casual conversations. Gradually extend this practice to high-stakes discussions or emotionally charged situations. Observing reactions, noting challenges, and reflecting on improvements strengthens both skill and confidence. Over time, patience becomes instinctive, guiding communication naturally and effectively. Time management supports patient engagement. Allocating adequate time for discussions and decision-making prevents rushed responses, allowing space for consideration, demonstrates respect for both your own process and the perspectives of others. Effective time management reduces stress, enhances clarity, and ensures that patience is sustainable in daily routines. Patience encourages clarity in communication. Responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively reduces misunderstandings and ensures that intentions are clearly conveyed. Clear communication improves cooperation, reduces tension, and strengthens relationships. Practicing patience as a communication strategy enhances both comprehension and collaboration. Consistency strengthens the impact of patience. Sporadic or selective patience may be perceived as insincere. Regular application demonstrates reliability and maturity, reinforcing trust and respect. Developing a pattern of patient behavior ensures that others can predict and rely on your thoughtful responses, creating a stable foundation for relationships and influence. Patience enhances personal resilience. Remaining composed under pressure allows for better decision-making, reduced stress, and improved emotional regulation. This resilience strengthens self-confidence and demonstrates reliability to others. Consistently practicing patience cultivates mental fortitude, enabling you to navigate challenges with clarity and effectiveness. Observing outcomes reinforces patience as a strategic skill. Notice how interactions evolve when patience is exercised compared to impulsive reactions. Evaluate how relationships, trust, and collaboration improve when responses are measured. This analysis provides feedback that encourages refinement and deepens understanding of the value of patience in communication and relationship management. Ethical application ensures patience is constructive. Deliberate patience should not be used to manipulate or control outcomes. Its purpose is to enhance understanding, foster respect, and create positive interaction. Practicing patience with integrity strengthens credibility, nurtures trust, and supports long-term growth in personal and professional life. Ultimately, intentional patience is a deliberate practice of awareness, self-control, empathy, and reflection. It requires observing emotional responses, pausing before reacting, and responding thoughtfully. Daily application transforms communication, strengthens relationships, and enhances influence. Mastering patience creates an environment of trust, clarity, and mutual respect, allowing interactions to become more productive, meaningful, and enduring. Consistent practice ensures patience evolves into a natural habit that empowers personal growth and lasting relational success. Chapter 10. Transform insights into action to create positive human impact. Insight alone has little value if it is not translated into deliberate action. Understanding human behavior, recognizing emotions, and observing patterns are all powerful tools, but their true potential is realized only when applied in meaningful ways. Transforming insights into action requires clarity of intention, commitment, and strategic execution. Every observation, every moment of understanding becomes an opportunity to influence, support, and uplift others when acted upon purposefully. The process begins with awareness and culminates in consistent application that generates tangible, positive impact. The first step is to prioritize which insights are most actionable. Not every observation demands immediate response, and focusing on what will make the most difference ensures effectiveness. Identify patterns, behaviors, or emotional cues that, when addressed, can improve communication, relationships, or outcomes. Prioritizing actionable insights allows for a structured approach, ensuring that energy is invested in meaningful, measurable ways rather than scattered efforts that yield limited results. Setting clear intentions transforms understanding into purposeful action. Knowing the desired outcome provides direction and focus, whether the goal is to build trust, resolve conflict, inspire collaboration, or offer support. Intentions guide behavior in practical ways. Clarity of purpose prevents reactive or inconsistent responses and ensures that insights are leveraged thoughtfully and ethically to benefit others. Planning and preparation are essential for effective implementation. Consider the context, timing, and method of applying your insights. Anticipate potential reactions, challenges, and opportunities. Structuring your approach increases the likelihood of positive outcomes while reducing misunderstandings or unintended consequences. Planning does not delay action but strengthens it, creating deliberate and intentional impact rather than random or impulsive influence. Action requires courage and decisiveness. Insights may highlight uncomfortable truths, difficult conversations, or necessary interventions. Applying understanding to real-life situations demands willingness to engage thoughtfully and consistently. Courage is not the absence of uncertainty, but the ability to move forward despite hesitation. Transforming knowledge into action builds confidence, resilience, and credibility, demonstrating leadership and integrity. Effective action relies on empathy and awareness of others' perspectives. Understanding emotional and psychological cues allows responses to be tailored to individual needs. Providing support, feedback, or guidance aligned with personal experiences ensures receptivity and strengthens impact. Empathy bridges observation and implementation, turning insight into interventions that resonate and create meaningful change. Feedback is an essential component of action. Observing how others respond to interventions provides real-world confirmation or adjustment of strategies. Active listening and reflection allow refinement of behavior, improving effectiveness over time. Constructive feedback strengthens learning loops, ensuring that actions remain aligned with goals and continue to generate positive results. Consistency transforms occasional interventions into lasting influence. Applying insights sporadically limits impact, while habitual action reinforces trust, credibility, and reliability. Consistent behavior demonstrates commitment and integrity, creating an environment where others feel understood, supported, and respected. Sustained effort over time compounds influence, producing meaningful and enduring change. Practical application requires adaptability. Human behavior is dynamic, and circumstances evolve constantly. Applying insights effectively means adjusting approaches in real time, responding to new information, and remaining open to change. Flexibility ensures that actions remain relevant, appropriate, and impactful, allowing understanding to translate into consistent, positive outcomes. Action also benefits from reflection and evaluation, reviewing outcomes, measuring effectiveness, and considering alternative approaches ensures continuous improvement. Reflection prevents stagnation, reinforces learning, and strengthens decision-making. Insights combined with reflective practice create a cycle of observation, action, evaluation, and refinement, producing increasingly effective influence and meaningful results. Empowering others is a critical aspect of translating insights into action. Using understanding to encourage, guide, and support individuals fosters autonomy, confidence, and growth. Positive impact is magnified when applied not only to immediate outcomes, but also to enabling others to act effectively, creating a ripple effect that extends beyond direct interactions. Communication is a key tool in transforming insight into action. Clearly articulating understanding, providing constructive feedback, and expressing intentions in ways that resonate ensures that interventions are comprehensible and actionable. Effective communication reinforces trust and ensures alignment between perception and behavior, maximizing the potential for positive impact. Action rooted in insight requires ethical responsibility. Understanding human behavior carries the potential for influence, but ethical application ensures that influence is constructive rather than manipulative. Acting with integrity, transparency, and respect safeguards relationships and maintains credibility. Ethical action amplifies positive outcomes while preventing harm or unintended consequences. Time management enhances the effectiveness of action. Applying insights promptly ensures relevance and impact. Delayed response may reduce efficacy or allow problems to escalate. Prioritizing actions based on urgency and significance ensures that effort is directed strategically, producing measurable results and strengthening credibility. Observation combined with action strengthens leadership and influence. Leaders who apply insights thoughtfully inspire confidence, motivate teams, and address challenges proactively, recognizing patterns, responding strategically, and adjusting behavior in real time enhances organizational performance, collaboration, and morale. Transforming insight into decisive action demonstrates competence, foresight, and commitment. Practical exercises in daily life reinforce the habit of applying insight. Begin with small, deliberate interventions, such as offering constructive feedback, providing support, or clarifying misunderstandings. Expand gradually to complex interactions, applying observation and emotional understanding to guide decisions and behaviors. Structured practice builds confidence, efficiency, and skill in transforming understanding into impactful action. Measuring outcomes ensures that action achieves its intended effect. Observing responses, evaluating behavioral changes, and tracking progress provide evidence of impact. Measurement enables refinement of approach, identifies areas for improvement, and confirms that interventions are producing the desired results. Accountability enhances consistency, motivation, and overall effectiveness in leveraging insights. Collaboration amplifies impact. Sharing understanding, coordinating actions, and aligning goals with others multiplies the effect of insights. Collective application of knowledge strengthens relationships, fosters mutual growth, and maximizes positive outcomes. Working with awareness, empathy, and coordination enhances influence and ensures that actions benefit the broader context rather than remaining isolated. Persistence is vital for creating sustained impact. Not all interventions produce immediate results, and meaningful change often requires repeated application of insight over time. Consistent effort builds credibility, trust, and resilience. Persistence ensures that insights do not remain theoretical, but become practical instruments for transformation, both personally and socially. Celebrating results reinforces the habit of action. Recognizing the effect of applied insights motivates continued effort and demonstrates the tangible benefits of understanding human behavior. Acknowledgement of progress enhances confidence, commitment, and engagement, reinforcing the cycle of observation, implementation, and reflection. Ultimately, transforming insights into action is a discipline of observation, intentionality, empathy, and consistency. Understanding human behavior provides the tools, but deliberate application ensures relevance and impact. Every moment of observation becomes an opportunity to influence positively, every reflection an opportunity to refine, and every action an opportunity to strengthen trust, connection, and growth. Consistently applying these principles creates meaningful human impact, nurtures relationships, and fosters personal and collective improvement, leaving a legacy of thoughtful, intentional engagement in every interaction.